Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we're bringing back the monthly pyramid wrap up. I think the last time I did this was the May and June mega pyramid because I was sick in June, couldn't film May, and then I didn't film July. I read a lot of books in July. I read 14 books in July. August, we read 12 books. We might finish one. We might not finish one that I'm reading currently, but so we read 12 books in August. So we have one not rated and then 11 on the pyramid. Hi guys, I just wanted to pop in because I was just like so all over the place in this video, but you'll see me pop in again. I'm just editing the video. I realized I never talked to you about like the stats that I had. So in the month of August, I read 12 books. The genre breakdown is 4 romances, 1 sci-fi, 2 general fiction, and 5 fantasy books. Out of all the books that I rated, the average rating for all of the books was 2.97 stars, and for a total number of pages of 4,588 pages in the month of August. Those are our stats. So yeah, on to the video. I don't think it was that great of a reading month, and not the sense of how many books I read. I think it was just basically like I didn't care for a lot of them, and like I don't know, like I didn't find anything like I was super obsessed with. We brought back drink time. My drink is a matcha. I've actually been super obsessed with matcha. I just went down a massive rabbit hole on TikTok videos of matcha. I've just been consuming a lot of matcha content. So we're making a matcha today. First, I just have a bowl. This is filled with hot water, and I have my bamboo whisk blooming inside the hot water. We're using my cherry mug, so we're gonna dump this water out. We're gonna sift our matcha. I'm just finishing off the Chamberlain coffee one. I think this is like 2 whole teaspoons. So, sift it through. I don't know if I like cold whisking in like the sense of like the matcha being mixed in with the milk. I like it with cold water. I had this yesterday and it was a lot better. Now you just go zigzag motions. Once I was doing it with my electric whisker, like the electric like mixer, it just never really like got all the clumps out, and I feel like this can get it out. Oh frick, I forgot to add my cinnamon. I'm gonna add my cinnamon right now. Then I take a little bit of hot water, and then I'm gonna put some honey. That's enough. Now I'm gonna add my milk, and then we pour. Perfect. Oh, it's so good. This month is unlike a lot of other months. I didn't read any physical books this month. I've just been reading on my Kindle. This thing went through it this month. Let's get into it. The worst book I read this month, and the book on the bottom of the pyramid, is Zodiac Academy. Don't know what to say. I didn't like Zodiac Academy. In my last reading vlog, I think it was my TikTok feed chooses my reads, I got this recommended to me, so I had to read it. I kind of never wanted to read Zodiac Academy. I think I heard the name Tori Vega as a main character and I said, what is this, Victorious? I don't want to read that. I know it's a, what am I saying? I know. I did read this. It's a bully trope romance. I don't think the bully thing lasts forever, but I didn't like that. So I didn't care for any of the characters, any of the heirs or Tori or Darcy. And so basically this book starts out with Tori and Darcy. They live in the mortal world, and then some guy comes over to them and is like, oh, you're Fae royalty, so you got to go to the Zodiac Academy. And then once you graduate Zodiac Academy, you can get your inheritance and become the queens of the nation. And so they go to the school, and there's these 4 boys called the heirs. Their parents are basically running the country, so they're the heirs, and so whatever happens to the parents, they inherit their job basically. They see that Tori and Darcy, the long lost queens, are back, and they're like, oh, we're not having this, they're not taking my job, and they start bullying them and they make it harder for them, so they leave Zodiac Academy. That's basically the whole gist of the book. I would say this book had no plot. This book had no plot. It's basically just them being terrorized at Zodiac Academy. One thing I was really expecting, like, I don't know, I felt like a lot of people really talked about the world building in this book. I don't know why. I felt like there was no world building in this book whatsoever. They didn't really try to explain any of the things that were happening. They're just like, oh yeah, these vampires, they have to suck your blood so they can get power. Then I don't understand how their magic works because I don't understand how the elements work. Some people have like more than one element. So like Tori and Darcy have more than one element, and they just hold out their hand and then fire comes out or like water comes out. I'm like, how did that happen? Like, I just never got over like the fact that Tori and Darcy, they know nothing about this society. No one's helping them learn anything about this society. Like, they're basically just thrown into school for no reason because they don't know anything about anything. Everyone's like, oh, I can't believe they didn't know, because no one's freaking telling them. I actually got so angry. I was like, why is no one helping them? Like, they don't know like elementary stuff, like elementary school things about their powers or society or like the society itself. And so it just never clicked in my brain. I actually hated that part. What was I even talking about? I should get off this book because I hated it so much. But yeah, 1 star. Didn't care for it. Don't like it. Don't want to continue with the series. Next book on the pyramid is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Every fantasy person is like, why did you not enjoy this book? The Farseer trilogy and the Realm of the Elderling series by Robin Hobb is literally masterpieces. And so why don't you like them? I just didn't care. I didn't care, and I can't pretend to care. I just think Robin Hobb rambled on for so long. Robin Hobb knows how to build a world. She knows how to build a world. Other than one character, the main character that we're in, into POV, I didn't care about anything. I really didn't care about what happened to him. I'm not gonna lie. I followed this little boy from 6 years old to his, like, what he was at the end of the book, and I felt like the world was just interacting with the character. It was never Fitz interacting with the world and, like, making his own decisions. And maybe that's the point, because he is the bastard king's son, so he doesn't really have any, like, rights or anything like that. He's, like, well off in terms of, like, other townspeople, but, like, he's also not royalty, so he doesn't get those benefits as well. Maybe that's, like, the thing. Like, Fitz didn't really, like, have a choice to do anything. He was just basically, like, stuff was happening to him, and then he would react upon that, but he wouldn't like take the initiative of, like, reacting or, like, interacting with the world around him other than what was thrown in his way. It just never really was, like, fun. It was so boring. I was so bored. I was borderline trying to DNF this book like 4 times. It just was not my cup of tea. I liked Fitz as, like, I liked him. I didn't feel too much for him. I didn't think, like, the assassin aspect of the book was that good as well. Nothing was action packed, and so that's when I just do not care. Like, if you're just telling me every single thing that this character is doing, but, like, having no, like, action between those, I just cannot care. And so that's what happened here. And because I know that Robin Hobb is, like, such a genius in her work, I did give it the benefit of the doubt, and I gave it 1.5 stars instead of just 1 star. I could see myself enjoying it. Like, I can see, like, me joining the hype with everybody, but, like, right this moment in time, it was so boring. I can't even, like, think to pick up the next book at all. The next book on the pyramid is The Blighted Stars by Megan E. O'Keefe. This is a sci-fi book. I saw a recommendation on TikTok again. I just don't know if I can trust anybody. I saw someone rave about this series. They said every book in this trilogy was 5 stars. This is a 5-star trilogy. They loved it so much. This book was boring. The sci-fi-ness wasn't that cool. Like, the premises of it is really good, but the conflict itself was very, like, lackluster, I would say. Like, I just wasn't, like, wowed or, like, oh my god, what's gonna happen, as compared to, like, other books that I've read. This book specifically, I was marketed to it as, like, our main character's undercover. There is a real enemies to lovers love story, because the person undercover hates the person they're, like, protecting, because they're a guard. The person that they're protecting is, like, the heir of, like, a really big empire. In this world, they basically have all the power. That person has testified against them and sent them to death. So that's, like, the stakes that we're at. And those are, like, crazy. I was like, wow, that's so cool. They get stranded on a dead planet. They have to figure out what led them to be stranded there. How do they get out and stuff like that. And so, like, they're just following that. And it sounds really interesting. I felt like I was expecting, like, a space opera. Like, oh my god, we're like Star Wars. We're, like, battling people and stuff like that. It was more, like, environmentally driven. And so maybe that's, like, if you want to read that, like, that's your cup of tea. Like, I just was expecting more action, I guess. I didn't really care about the characters too much. I think I liked one character a little bit more than the other character, but I'm not going to say. But I don't remember the characters' names. I don't know their names. I didn't put down their names. You're going to have to figure it out yourself. JK, I'll do the work for you guys. Nara and Nayara? I don't know. She's the one undercover. And Tarkin Mercator is, like, the heir of, like, the Great Society Empire and stuff like that. His whole family, like, legacy is based on mining this precious stuff. And so that's all you got to know. It was mediocre. 2.5 stars. I don't know if I'm going to keep up with it. I don't know if I'm going to continue. I think it could lead somewhere, because I think the ending ramped up a lot more in, like, the action, I guess. Maybe I'll like it more. And the second and third book, 2.5 stars. That's a maybe if we continue. Next is The Hanging City by Charlie N. Holmberg. This was just a fun little adult fantasy that was, like, really easy to fly past, and I liked it up until the conflict. The conflict and the conflict resolution was so, like, out of left field, because it didn't really coincide with the rest of the book. It just, like, wrapped up too quickly, because it is, like, less than 400 pages, and I was just like, that's it. Like, I don't even understand how the conflict really occurred, and, like, why it happened, and, like, how that, like, really led to it. But basically, we follow our main character, Clarke, and she leaves her family. She's been on her own for a while, and then she travels over to the Troll Kingdom, tries to find, like, work there so she can stay in the Troll Kingdom, because she doesn't want to stay in the human area anymore. But the humans and the trolls, they don't get along. All you have to know is that she's basically at the bottom of the caste system in, like, the troll country. She doesn't get really treated the best in that area, but then there's a romance, and I feel like that was fine. It was whatever. Liked Clarke as a character. I really liked her, but then the conflict resolution, I told you, it wasn't good, and I felt like the conflict directly goes against what everything that Clarke was working for throughout the whole book, and so I was like, that's stupid. I hate it. So 2.5 stars. God. Meat cutting in. I forgot a book on the pyramid. So if I count on the pyramid, there's only 11 books on there, and I did read 12 books. But I forgot to talk to you about a book called The Library of Borrowed Hearts. I gave this book 3 stars. I read Lucy Gilmore's The Broken Heart Book Club, which is like a book she put out before, and the Broken Hearts Book Club, miles better than this book. Library of Borrowed Heart, the concept's cool. I feel like the execution wasn't that cool. I didn't really care about the like past element of the story. I thought it wasn't as emotional as her previous work. I'm really just like comparing the two because I like the Broken Hearts Book Club so much better than the Library of Borrowed Heart, because in the Broken Hearts Book Club I was so emotionally connected to the characters and what happened to them because of the found family aspect. In the Library of Borrowed Hearts, we follow Chloe, and she works in the library. She's an older sister caring for her like 3 younger siblings. She's raising 3 kids by herself, basically, that are her siblings. She finds a book, The Tropic of Cancer. This book it's like really widely known banned, and so it sells for a lot of money. Chloe finds one in the library, like in the down area of the library. She takes it, she's planning on like selling it, and then in the margins of the book she sees like 2 different people talking back and forth with one another, and so she's like, I need to figure out who these people are. Turns out it's her grumpy old neighbor. So that like whole thing, it was like good in like the sense like I really believed in like the conclusions they were coming to, but then I think the ending was just like really lackluster, especially after such a big monologue in the end from Jasper. Chloe's family life was like the only like emotional toll I really cared about. I just really did not like the past aspect of the book, which is like the most like intriguing part, because like they write in the margins of the book like this long lost love story, and so I just feel like I was really let down. But it was a fine book, 3 stars. It's not like anything crazy, anything like bad, but like I just was really severely disappointed in it. That's all I really had to tell you about The Library of Borrowed Hearts. Very forgettable. Forgotten it, case in point. But yeah, there's that. Get on with the rest of the books. I'm so sorry. Next book. Let me take a sip of matcha. I've been talking too long. The next book on the pyramid is A Love Song for Ricki Wilde by Tia Williams. I gave this one 3 stars. I love Tia Williams' writing. I think she's so funny. I really liked 70s in June. I think 70s in June is still my top one from her. I think it was just so emotional, and like the famous quote, "Stop writing about me. No, you stop writing about me first." If Tia Williams makes another book like that, I think I will actually pass out. Like, I think I would actually throw up and then pass out, and then I would read the book. You know what I mean? This basically follows our main character, Ricki Wilde. She's like a socialite in Atlanta, and she leaves that socialite life, and she goes to Harlem, makes the newfound family in there, and she opens up a flower business. She's really intrigued with like the Harlem Renaissance era of Harlem, and so she uses it to market her business, and she just loves like retelling the history about Harlem because it is so like lost in the Harlem area nowadays. And so I really enjoyed that part. I love the historical fiction aspect of this book, and then I also really liked the magical realism to an extent, but like I feel like the romance part of this book was just so lackluster once the couple got together. I just didn't care about it once the couple got together. The magical realism aspect was like fun, but then it was very predictable at the end. Like I knew it was gonna happen, and so that kind of put it down a little bit. Also with like the fact that once Ezra and Ricki, like once their tension was gone and they like accepted their feelings, I guess, I just didn't really care about it too much after that. But like the lead up to them, like why are they always seeing each other? Why can't they stop thinking about each other? Why do they feel this way? I really enjoyed that bit. 3 stars. I would recommend it. It's really good. Yeah, just didn't really care about the romance between Ezra and Ricki, so that just kind of docked it down for me a little bit. But yeah, really recommend this book and Tia Williams' other work. I haven't read anything other than 7 Days in June, but I really recommend 7 Days in June. It's really emotional. I really love it. Next is 1 Star Romance by Laura Hankin. I think this book gets a negative rap. Maybe not really, but I've seen some Goodreads review. They hate our main character, Natalie. I love Natalie. I really felt for Natalie. I feel like no one's really understanding Natalie. I feel like, I don't know. Our main character, Natalie, has a best friend. She's getting married, and so she is the maid of honor for her best friend's wedding. The groom's best friend is also what's the male maid of honor? The groomsman? No, the man of honor. The man of honor? She writes a book, he reads the book, gives it 1 star, and she finds out that he gave her book 1 star at the wedding. So that's kind of like their animosity, and then it goes through a bunch of different like periods of their life. And so it follows basically Natalie, and it follows her like being so like kind of lost in her career and her authorship. And so she just really like, I think there's a really good line in this book, and it talks about how she really wants to be the author that touches somebody, like how other authors have touched her, like with their words. I just love thinking about that, like how authors can feel like they like touched you so much. Everyone said that Natalie was so dependent and borderline obsessive with her best friend. I didn't think it was that bad. I feel like Natalie was so justified in everything that she was thinking of, because it kind of felt like her best friend didn't really like follow her passion with her writing, and like how like that affected her when her sales didn't really do as well. It was kind of justified in her best friend's like thinking, and so the conflict was crazy. It was so much tension leading up to it. So there's that. I really enjoyed the book. I think it was really good. Just didn't care about the romance. I didn't care about Natalie and Rob's relationship. And I feel like this one is a lot more focused on Natalie, and it's less focused on the romance. Overall, the romance was pretty lackluster. Didn't even care for it. And so I would say the romance part of this book was like a 1.5 stars, but like everything else about the book was like a 4 stars. So I settled on a 3.25. Next, I have Our Violin Ends by Chloe Gong. This is the second book in the Secret Shanghai series. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling in Shanghai, China in the 1920s. We follow our main character, Romeo and Juliet. And so basically they're in 2 rival gangs. They have a blood feud, or like a family feud. I don't know what it's called. Family feud. Okay. The White Flower is Roma's gang, and the Scarlets are Juliet's gang. And so something leads them together. And so we kind of like explore the past history of Romeo and Juliet in the first book. And so that kind of like keeps on going on in the second book. I feel like the second book kind of like, it followed the same conflict, like threat as the first book, but just more elevated. But then like the second 50% of the book followed something totally different. The conflict with threat that they were facing was like kind of like honestly rushed in the wrap up of it to get to the second half of this like conflict. I'm just saying that, like, I cannot spoil this book for you guys. I feel like in the second half we followed Romeo and Juliet like in their relationship a little bit more, and I really enjoyed that bit. And so because of that, I'm giving it 3.75 stars. Don't ask me how. The man that Roma is, I love Roma. And so like I feel like I like Juliet in this book a lot more than I liked her in the first book, and I feel like she like kind of shed that like, ooh, I'm so badass, like cold hard exterior, that, and I feel like the writing in this one's a lot better. Yeah, I just really enjoyed this book. 3.75 stars. I actually recommend. I think it's pretty hyped on TikTok for a reason, and I think it's good. I didn't expect what happened at the end, but I don't know why I didn't expect it. I do know why, but then I don't know why, because of what it is. You know what I mean? Oh, the next book on the pyramid is Bewilderment by Richard Powers. I'm giving this 3.75 stars too. I really enjoyed this. It's really short. I think it's less than 300 pages. Honestly, I feel like the first 60% I was like, okay, what am I reading? Like, I just did not understand what was happening. Since the chapters are so short, it's basically just like conversations between Theo, our main character, who is the dad of a little 9-year-old boy named Robin. And so it's basically their conversations, and it follows Theo, and it's like kind of like a sci-fi literary book. I would say it's more literary than sci-fi. Theo, he is an astrobiologist. He looks for like other life in other planets, because there's a lot more planets in our galaxy than just what is there now. Robin is a little 9-year-old boy who lost his mother. I feel like the mother is like what they really like bond with. He just wants to be like his mother. Robin is in trouble at school, and so they're like, oh, we need to figure out how he wants to deal with his emotions and stuff like that. And so that's like a big aspect of the book. Leads to like the 80% mark, and I feel like the last 40-50 pages of the book, they hit you so hard. Like it's like worth the buildup to get to that area, because like I sobbed. That's all you need to know. It's basically Theo and his decisions of how to protect his son and give his son the best like chances he can have, and like how he deals with those situations and the conflict of that situation. And so it's really, I don't know, it's not heartwarming, it's really sad. I'm tearing up thinking about it, but I don't know, I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was well paced and well written. There's that book, 3.75 stars. Okay, the next book on the pyramid is The Love of My Afterlife by Kirsty Greenwood. I actually really like this book. I gave this one 4 stars. The beginning of the book, insufferable. I hated the beginning of the book. I hated the character that we were introduced to. I was like, do I even want to read this? Carried on. This book took me for a ride, I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting one thing to happen didn't happen. And then I was like, whoa, where are we going from this? And I really liked the outcome of it. I really thought it was really heartwarming. I thought the found family aspect was really good in this book. We follow our main character, Delphi. She works in a pharmacy. She's basically all alone. Like, she doesn't really have friends or anything like that. She doesn't really talk to her coworkers. She's like, she likes being alone, but does she like being alone? You know what I mean? Then she mysteriously dies. She goes to afterlife, and then she meets an afterlife therapist. And so she gets like 7-10 days to find this one guy who her afterlife therapist thinks is her soulmate. And so once she finds him and like kisses him and stuff like that, she can have her life back. She goes on this wild goose chase to find him, meet some friends along the way. And yeah, I thought it was really heartwarming. I kind of grew to like the character I hated in the beginning, but I was like, whatever, I didn't really care for her. I don't know, I think she could be way less annoying, but that's my opinion. Because of that, 4 stars. I think that's like literally the only thing that I really didn't like. I hated that wrong character. And so 4 stars it is. I had a fun time reading it. Thought it was really funny. Next book I have that isn't on the pyramid, but I read this month and I'm not reading is Heartstopper Volume 3. I love the Heartstopper books. First 2, I would say, follow the season 1 plot. The third book follows season 2 plot. I think the 4th book follows season 3 plot. And so I really want to get to this before the new season airs. I really enjoyed the second. I don't know. I just really enjoy reading all the Heartstopper like graphic novels. The book and the TV show are like so perfect because they like emulate each other so beautifully. The TV show is really good because you can see all these things happening in the book that you like read and like pictured and stuff like that. I would say like the first 2 books go into like the mind of each character more than we have time for in like the TV show, so I really enjoyed that one. I feel like the second season and the third book go hand in hand perfectly. Like I feel like nothing was missed out. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Yeah, not rating it because I don't know how to grade graphic novels. I don't know what I would do. I just really enjoy Nick and Charlie, so they're super cute. The next and final book that I read this month, and my favorite book of the month, Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I don't know if you've heard about this book. Probably have. It's really famous, but I really enjoyed it. It's really short too. It's like less than 300 pages. It's like such a wild ride that you go on, and I love our main character Piranesi. And so he's like very pure-hearted, just like a kind human being. Okay, he lives in this like house of labyrinths and stuff like that. And so like, okay, so we don't really understand where the house is. Like we don't understand how he got there and everything like that. And so that kind of like unfolds throughout the whole book. Once you get like to that part of the plot, is really interesting, and it feels like a dark academia book in the way that like everything interacts with each other. It feels like If We Were Villains, and it also feels like Dead Poet Society. I don't know why that's what it gave off, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super fun. I loved the atmosphere of the book. Yeah, it was just so good. I just loved all the twists and turns. I love feeling smarter than the book. Piranesi's so like naive, and so he's like finding out this information, but he doesn't like connect it well. And so like when I connected, I feel like I was smart in the book. I just loved the book. I loved how everything unfolded. 4.5 stars. Yeah, love this book. And those are all the books we read in the month of August. This wrap up was lightning quick. I'm actually going to show you my September TBR. I plan on reading these in September. I did a little like thing on TikTok where I have some TBR prompts in this jar, and on my TikTok I picked out 3 of them. And so for one of them was a book that you've been avoiding for so long. I had some other options. I can link down the TikTok in my description below. But yeah, we're finally reading Perks of Being a Wallflower. This is a book I've been avoiding since like March. I really want to read it so I can watch the movie. I really want to watch the movie. I'm itching to watch the movie. Next is a YA book on my physical TBR. I didn't really have too many YA books, but I was in between Gallant by V.E. Schwab and Heartstopper Volume 4, but I knew I was going to get to Heartstopper Volume 4 because of the TV show. Graphic novels are so easy, so I wanted to put this on my September TBR. I've been itching to read this. I think this is like one of the only V.E. Schwab books that I haven't read. They're like her actual novels. I don't know about anything else, but I've read Vicious and Vengeful. I've read The Darkest Shade of Magic. I've read Addie LaRue, and so this one is like the only one I haven't read. This is a YA. I don't know too much about it. It's like witchy, I guess, paranormal. I don't know if it's paranormal, witchy, or dark academia. Don't know, but it felt very fall, so I said yeah, put that on the TBR. Next and final prompt I got was a book over 500 pages, and we picked The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. I read Mistborn, The Final Empire. I'm really itching to get back into the Mistborn world. I feel like those are like my priority that I have to get to, but I want to read other books as well. Some other books I want to read: The Will of the Many by James Islington. Next is An Education to Malice by S.T. Gibson. I loved A Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson. So I need to get to this one, and this one's Dark Academia. Dark Academia, I think there's some paranormal stuff. I don't know. Another Dark Academia book, I want to reread If We Are Villains by Emil Rio. This is the first book I read when I was getting back into reading, like in 2022. Want to read it. I want to annotate this. I just want to get into it. I feel like I know a lot more Shakespeare now because I took that one Shakespeare class, but so I feel like maybe I'll enjoy it a little bit more because I know more Shakespeare. Next, I want to read Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I also want to read Sally Rooney's new book, Intermezzo, but I feel like I should get to the backlog. I think this is going to be fun. I really liked Normal People, so I want to get into another Sally Rooney. Next, I want to read Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. I still don't know. He said Bachman, but I love saying Bachman. I don't know why. And that's my September/fall TBR. I have 3 books on my September TBR, which is Perks of Being a Wallflower, Gallant, and The Well of Ascension. That's my September TBR. What's your September TBR? Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. Comment down below anything you want to comment down below. I love replying. I think my favorite part of filming and editing and like doing YouTube is talking with you guys. So comment down below if you want to say anything. I love being besties with all of you. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!